So I did a tutorial around 10 months ago on Facebook ads and it got over 130,000 views. But the best advertising platform right now for dropshipping is TikTok. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a fully up-to-date 2023 TikTok advertising tutorial, and we're going to cover everything from A to Z. Today, I'm giving you the promise that this is going to be the most valuable video you ever seen on advertising for dropshipping. So make sure that you bring your notepad. This is probably going to be a long video and also a very technical one. But if you're looking to make serious money, this is the video for you. Now, this video also works for people that just want to do TikTok ads in general, but my channel is all about dropshipping. I post there 2 times every single week sharing my journey, but I'm not going to waste your time. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to give all of it away for completely free. Now, before you start running ads on TikTok, there's a couple of things you need to know. And the first thing is that you have to have your pixel installed. The pixel is the thing you use to track your conversions. And if you do not have the TikTok pixel installed, you're going to end up missing out on the data. So you're not going to be able to know if older people are buying the product. You're not going to be able to know which genders buy your product, and you're just going to miss out on a ton of information. So the TikTok pixel must be installed, but luckily for you, it's very simple. You can just download the TikTok app in Shopify. Now, the second thing you have to have ready is good creatives. On TikTok, the creatives you choose is the most important factor as to whether or not you're going to be successful. You want to have content that blends into the algorithm, native content, or user-generated ads. The whole point of this is that on TikTok, if you're going to run an ad, people aren't really there to shop, but lately it's becoming more and more of a marketplace. So you want to make sure that your app follows, for example, trendy sounds, or that it just has a TikTok vibe. Do not run just random advertisements on TikTok. Make sure that it actually fits into the algorithm. Now, the third thing you need to have ready is your marketing approach. This is basically the type of audience you want to target, how you want to run your product. It can, for example, be that you run a home decor product and you target a specific demographic, for example, gamers. Let's say you sell a humidifier and you try to make it a gaming humidifier. I know it sounds kind of weird, but you know what I mean. The whole point here is that you need to have a unique marketing approach that actually lets you stand out. Now, in a second, we're going to go inside of my ads manager and I'm going to show you exactly how to run the ads. But before that, there's a couple of things that we need to break down. Now, the fourth thing you want to have is some funds ready. I recommend to have at least $500 to $1,000 if you want to start running TikTok ads. Now, if you feel like you want to be a little bit more on the risky side, you could obviously make it work with less as well. But I typically see $500 to $1,000, if not even more, to be a good budget when dropshipping. So make sure you got the funds so that you're ready to actually scale your product, because it will be a shame if you start making $500, $1,000 a day, which you will do after watching this video, because it's a really good one. It will be a shame if you do not have a little bit of funding to run your product up successfully. All right, so I know if you're new to advertising, this slide probably seems a little bit confusing to you, but as you can see, this is the running the ad slide. When you run the ads, you want to go for something called 5 ad groups, and if you stay patient with me, I'm obviously going to break it all down for you. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it inside of my own ads manager, but as you can see, you want to have 5 ad sets, and one thing you probably notice is that they're all the same, and that's correct. When you test something out, this is basically called a test. We're going to give TikTok around $100 in a CBO. That's why it says $20 per ad group here. But if you are a beginner and don't know, CBO might not spend $20 on each ad set. It could actually spend $80 on one and nothing on the other one. And I know that this sounds maybe a little bit advanced for you, but just stay with me here. I'm going to break it all down for you as simple as possible. When you do your targeting, you want to make sure that you put in your country, whether you dropship to the US, UK, you know that way better than me. We want to go with people that's 17 plus, because we don't want 14-year-olds stealing their parents' credit card and just spending it like a maniac on your store. When it comes to the targeting, you want to do no targeting. TikTok is a very new platform. It's a very broad platform. So when you run ads there, you want to make sure that you go as broad as possible to get the first few sales in. And once you get that, you can start narrowing down and finding your ideal audience. Then the last thing you want to have is the creatives. You never want to rely on only one video. So you always want to make sure that you have at least 2 videos, but maybe even 3 videos of your product, where you maybe switch up the first 3 seconds, the first 5 seconds, or you just change up the ad completely. But now that you know the basics and got the ad set up, I'm actually just going to show you how to do it. All right, so we're inside my TikTok ads manager, and if you come up to the top here, you see we have dashboard and campaign. You want to make sure that you obviously fund your account with a little bit of money. But you come up here to where it says campaign, and then what we're going to do is just to create a new campaign from scratch. You just press the create button like I did here, and then we're obviously going to start over. You want to make sure you go with website conversions. If you see this video very late, maybe product sales is going to be a good thing too, because it's something that's coming up now. But as for now, you want to go with website conversions. This video is likely to be up to date as well. Here you can just name it your product name. I'm not going to name it anything. Then you want to put CBO on, and you want to run it for $100 a day. So the currency I have on this ad account, since I'm running in Europe, is going to be 1,000, but you want to make sure you put in $100, so that equals like 80 pounds, whatever currency you have. Make sure you put $100 here, but then you can go to the next part of the ad set. Now, I understand you're probably a little bit scared to spend $100 a day, but keep in mind, you're just going to test it for like like 20 hours. You spend $70 and then I'm going to soon give you the instructions on what to do. So don't sit there and worry that you're going to have to spend hundreds of dollars every single day. But now that we're inside the ad set, this is where you want to click and put in your TikTok pixel. Then for the optimization events, the only thing we ever want to go for is complete payments, because our goal is to make money, right? We don't really care about website traffic. And as you guys can see, my barber kind of messed up a little, so I like have some weird stuff here. Just ignore that. I shaved my hair off like 6 months ago. Please try to ignore it. For the placements, you want to make sure you go with the manual placement. Only TikTok. We don't want to run to some random app. And then for advanced settings, I recommend you to turn comments off in case of hate. People saying like, oh, this is a dropshipping store, don't buy from here. And you also don't want people to download your videos because they can steal your ads. I would rather have them make their own ads. So I recommend you to turn both off. You don't have to, but it is definitely my advice. For the country, I'll just go with a random one. Let's just go with Denmark. But the country you target, right? You want to run to the US, you target the USA. Not all ad accounts can reach the US. So if you have a European ad account, I recommend you to find a way to purchase a TikTok ad account that can actually reach the US. But right now, dropshipping in Europe is very, very good. But if you do not see a country as an option, you can just search on Google to buy an ad account that is, able to target those countries. For the gender and ages, this has already been explained in the PowerPoint, but I'm breaking this down for you very simple. You do all the ages besides 13 to 17 because they're very young. And then here you can use this, but when you test, you just want to go broad. You do not want to mess with any of these demographics. You do not target any interests, because as I said on TikTok, targeting is not the best yet, but you can do that when you scale. And if I don't mention something, that means you can just ignore it. So you can scroll down here, and I recommend you to just schedule it like a couple of hours from now. You do not have to schedule it for the midnight. It's just something the guru says, but the point they really try to make is you should only make changes to your ads once per day. So I just schedule it to be in like 4 hours from now. And as you can see, it's actually 12 a.m. here. I'm just staying up all night working because I know that it's just going to pay off. Here we have the all day and specific time. I'm going to give you a very good tip. Once you start scaling and you know when your audience is awake, a good way to boost your profit margin is to only run it in the active hours. So let's say that from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. You can drag it like this. We're now spending like 40% less, right? So we should realistically be able to have a 40% higher profit margin. So simply just by using this, you could almost double your profit margin. It's such a good thing to have. But even though you already know this, you are testing, okay? So do not mess with that. Just keep everything super broad. You don't need to change this advanced settings either. Now just skip on to the next part here. And then sometimes it's going to give you errors saying like it's too niche, it's too broad. Ignore that. They just want to spend your money other places. Here, you obviously want to make sure you put in your logo and the name of your store. And then you're going to go ahead and upload your content. Now, I'm not going to upload content now because I'm not going to run it. But as far as for the text, I always recommend it to have some urgency, right? 50% off, sale ending at midnight. Then you customize this call to action right here. And you want to always edit it and hit standard so that you can hit shop now. If that was a little bit fast, just play it back again. And then we're going to submit the ad. Obviously here you put the link to your product page. Always make sure that you link your product page. We don't want to send them to the homepage. But anyways, that's how you set up simple ads, right? For testing. But this is only going to make you a couple of sales a day because we're just in the testing phase. Now you might be wondering, Henrik, how do we actually make serious money with this? So your goal here is to run this campaign, which is going to be 5 ad sets. So as you guys can see inside of here, we actually only set up 1 ad group, but then you want to come into the ad right here. As you guys can see inside of this campaign, we got 5 ad groups, right? So if you're just starting out now and you publish that, you're only going to have 1 ad group. What you want to do then is just to duplicate 4 copies. And these are copies, so you don't need to change anything. Just duplicate it and publish. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up with 5 ad groups. Just like the PowerPoint says here, 5 ad groups, and this is everything that we just talked about. So what makes a good campaign? Well, there's a lot of things that come into place. And if you have one of them without the other ones, you're probably going to fail. So this is a very important section of the video. The first thing you want to have is a good product. A good ad will not sell a bad product. So there is a thing called winning products or good types of products. I don't believe in fully winning products. I more so believe in winning audiences and winning markets. Your ability to market, right? Your approach with your marketing is actually what's going to make you successful. But I still do believe that some products are better than others. So even if you have the best advertising skills in the world, if you're just selling some super boring shoes, it's probably not going to work. Now, the second thing is the marketing angle. This is basically your marketing approach, right? Let's say that you sell a skincare device and you're targeting every type of skincare. You're targeting blackheads, you're targeting acne problems, you're targeting scars. You're just targeting too much, right? It's way too broad. You need to take your own approach, right? So maybe targeting one specific thing, targeting a specific audience is basically just a marketing angle, right? How you're able to stand out. Now, the third thing is the creative creative, and this is probably the most important thing on TikTok. Your creative is basically your video ad. And if you're looking to get good video ads for dropshipping, this is not a sponsor, it's not a plug or anything like that. It's just a genuine recommendation. You can use ROAS formula. My friend runs it. He makes the video ads for me. So if you want to make sure that you actually get good video ads, I'll just link that in the description. As I said, it's not a paid promo or anything. It's just a genuine recommendation. But if you want to be more so the mastermind of this whole thing, you could obviously make your ads yourself, right? Order the product, film it, browse the net, find a couple of videos, compile it together into your own ad. These are all things you can do. And the fourth and also one of the most important factors to making a winning campaign, which makes this circle in the middle, right? We have this part here, this part, this part, and this part, is the audience. What types of interest should you target? Now, as you know, when you first start out, you don't want to target an audience, right? So this is more of a scaling type of thing when you're more deep into the process, but you still have some sort of an audience, right? Who is your ideal audience? Even though you go broad, you obviously have a product that fits a specific audience. And once you have these four things in place, you should be able to get amazing results like this every single day. And these are actually results from my own students. I do run a mentorship program for dropshipping and advertising. If you're interested in being a part of my mentorship program, you can send me a message on Instagram right here. But let's move on to the next part of this PowerPoint. Okay, so you've been doing everything that I said in this video so far. Now you probably have a campaign that spent around $60, $70 a day, and you're probably wondering, what do I do now? How do I scale? Or should I just move on from the product? As you can see here, if you get 0 sales, I recommend you to just cut the campaign. There's not really any point in running it anymore. TikTok is a very good platform and this strategy is amazing. So if it doesn't work, I would probably just move on because the strategy should work. If you get 1 to 2 sales, however, I recommend you to just leave it running another day, see if you can get some more sales because some days are a little bit slower, right? And some days are better. So if you make 3 sales a day, you could probably do 5 or 6 tomorrow. And for every sale you get, the platform gets better, right? Your pixel starts to optimizing. So it actually becomes easier to get the next sale as well. And when you're testing something out with a new ad account, I always recommend you to just price it a little bit lower than your ideal selling price. If you want to sell something for $29, just start testing it as $25 and just increase as you go because the first sales are the hardest to get. And once you get them, the algorithm starts optimizing. It's just going to be easier to get the next couple of sales. All right, so let's just say that you get 3 sales. You want to be scaling. And in a second, I'm going to break down live exactly how to scale. I'm going to show you inside of one of my own ads managers. But as you see here, some results are not worth continuing. Just stop the product and move on. So if you have just a horrible result, I recommend you to just move on from the product. All right, so how do you scale on TikTok, you may ask? So the first way, and one of the best ways to scale on TikTok is just by doubling the budgets. If you have a campaign that's doing good, let's say you're spending $100 a day, do not be afraid to just double it to $200 a day because if it's working at $100 a day, it's incredibly likely to work at $200 a day and it's probably going to work even better at $200 a day. So on TikTok, you just want to up the budgets. Now, the second way to scale on TikTok is by constantly testing new creatives. As I told you, the content is everything. If you do not have a good video ad, and I'm going to pull up a video here on like how a good video ad for TikTok looks like. If you do not have a good video ad or creative that actually fits into the algorithm, you're not going to be able to get that many sales. So I recommend you every single week to always test a couple of new video ads so you can get a higher click-through rate. The click-through rate is obviously the percentage of people that sees it and clicks in on your ads, right? So 1% click-through rate is relatively low. And the most important factor pretty much with advertising is your click-through rate. So if you have a low click-through rate, you're not going to make any sales. So you want to make sure to have a good ad that actually gets clicks because if people don't even click in on your product page to begin with, you're obviously not going to make any sales. Now, the third way to scale is by trying out audiences and interest at 20 sales. As I said, when you first start, just go broad. But once you start getting like 10, 20 plus sales, you want to make sure you actually start targeting some interest. And the fourth way of scaling is by getting UGC, or it's called user generated content or native content that fits into the algorithm. This is obviously a very good way to scale as well as you're getting content that actually fits TikTok. All right, so we're inside of one of my ads managers. This is just a random one that I pulled up. But as you can see here, we have some campaigns that has 1.4% click-through rate, which is actually decent on TikTok. You could still have higher though, which is sitting at 7 sales. As you can see, it spent over $100 though. Just 10x this says 1,000, but it's around $100, and it has gotten over almost 5 times more clicks than a campaign that spent around 4 times less. But as you guys can see, let's just say that this is a winning campaign. We could literally just make a new one. Just create right up here a new campaign with everything inside of it the exact same, just by doubling the budget. We could also just press the button right here and actually just double the budget here. So I can go ahead and just put the budget up to the double the price. And as I said, it's always going to be safe if your product is doing good. Another thing that we can do is we can just create a completely new campaign, and under that campaign we can go ahead and just put 10 different video ads. And let's just say we give the campaign $100 a day, we put 2 good ad sets under it, and we run 10 creatives. Then we can see which video ad gets the highest click-through rate, and the video ad that gets the highest click-through rate we can then take and bring back into our old campaign. So I really recommend you to do this thing. It's called creative scaling. When you make new campaigns, we just put in tons of different creatives to test out, see what works the best. every single week. I want you to test out new video ads or new openers, because on TikTok, the content is everything. There's always a better video out there that's going to get you more sales. Just one more thing I need to tell you. Once your CBO starts making money and it actually starts getting you results, I want you to make an ABO, a campaign where you actually put individual budgets on each ad set. So you want to run $20 per ad set, and what you can do with the winning ad sets is you can duplicate that ad set and double the budget. So if your ad sets in the ABO, which you would start using at around 10 sales, you can take $20 ad sets and put them to 40 and then put them to 80. So you start off with a $100 a day CBO, and once it starts working, you make an ABO where you start putting $20 on each ad set. Take the ad sets from $20, doubling it up to $40 if it starts working, and even from $40 up to $80. That's the best way to scale on TikTok. But you can also just duplicate your ad sets and make copies. This allows you to find new segments of the audience. And I get it. You might be thinking, Henrik, isn't it very weird that we just duplicate it and just publish without making any changes? And I technically kind of agree with you on it. But when it comes to the algorithm, you're actually just giving the ad set a new life and a new way to find other segments of the audience. So it's always worth making copies of your ad sets as well. But now let's look inside of the ad sets here, and you can actually see a couple of good ways of scaling. All right, so a couple of ways of scaling is obviously by narrowing down to the gender that buys the most. If you run a product to both genders and you start seeing that there's only girls buying it, you can stop spending money on men, simply just by pressing female only. You can even test this button here, high spending power. I recommend you just test everything. That's what advertising is about. Just split testing every single metric until you get what you think is the perfect ad set. Then you can actually go down here to the targeting expansion and just put expansion up for ages only. You might be thinking it's a very weird thing to do, as we're already asking you to not expand the age, but it doesn't mean that it's going to start spending on 13-year-olds. It just lets you make it even more broad, and you just don't put anything in the way of TikTok to optimize. So by going broad, you doesn't necessarily ruin anything, because TikTok is still going to spend money where they want to, right? So they are not going to spend it to 13-year-olds if they're not going to buy anyway. So it's good to use it just to keep it super broad. Here you guys can see the interest selection. This is a good way of scaling. Maybe your campaign is just a little bit too broad, right? You're just a little bit all over the place, and that's why you have just the average profit margin. You don't make that much money. Well, you can increase it simply just by going over here. So as you guys can see, let's say that it's a home product. We can go here, and if it's for kitchen, we can target kitchen and bathrooms, and that also has, subcategories like this. If it's an egg product, we could even target egg cookers, right? Or if it's a barbecue product, we could target electric grills, and you can just see how it's pretty good for targeting. It's getting better every day, but there's still not that many interests. But I do recommend it to always testing with a couple of interests once you get deeper into the scaling phase. And there's two metrics specifically that you want to pay attention to. It's the click-through rate that you have. As you guys can see, there's something wrong with my campaign now. It just went to 0. But you want to pay attention to your click-through rate and also your ROAS. Your ROAS is the return on ad spend, right? How much you're spending versus how much you're making. So if you have a product that costs you $1 with ad spend and the product cost, and you sell it for 10, that means you 10x, right? So you have a good ROAS. Just to keep it simple, a good ROAS is usually anything above 2, but that's still a little bit low. So if you want to have a really good ROAS, that would be around 3 to 5, if not even more than that. I've had campaigns with 37 as an average ROAS, but always pay attention to your ROAS. I also want you to pay close attention to your click-through rate. It should be at least above 1%, which is still super low, but I have seen campaigns actually on TikTok do very well with as little as a 1.4% click-through rate. But if you can have a click-through rate on over 3 to 4 to 5% on TikTok, you should be able to get super good results if your product page and everything is set up properly. Now back to what we talked about when it comes to scaling, you can also use a specific time of the day, right? Which really helps you boost your profit margin, because if you only run it 12 hours a day instead of 24 hours a day, you're basically cutting half your spend, or you're spending half your money in a better place than what you did earlier. So it's a really good way to boost your profit margin. But when it comes to scaling your ad sets, making more money, that also has a lot to do with cutting your losses, right? If you have a bad video, if you have a bad ad set, you could cut that. So if you have an average ROAS of 5 and you cut half of your ad sets that are performing good, you might now have a ROAS of 7, right? So even though you have a bad ROAS when you test, you can always cut the ROAS to become good. So never be afraid to cut bad ad sets. And I want you to give new ad sets 1 day to run. If they're not able to produce good results in 24 hours, I would just cut it and move on. But the most important thing when it comes to scaling is take ad sets that's doing good, double the budget, always get new video ads, always get new creatives, and just narrow down on what actually works. And eventually you're going to find your perfect audience. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you found it valuable and that you now have a much better understanding of TikTok ads. This is a strategy that definitely works, so go ahead and try it out right now. And if you liked the video, I hope that you click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm Henrik, and on this channel, I'm posting everything that I know about e-commerce, dropshipping, and advertising. So if you're interested in that, or if you like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.